A cozy campfire at night. All that's missing is the marshmallows. Do you want to know how to make something like this so you can enjoy it? Well, listen as I give you some pointers about how to make a campfire. First, you will need to get your equipment together. You will need an axe for chopping the wood. Make sure it's sharp because a blunt axe can be a hazard. You will also need a shovel to dig the fire pit. It does not have to be a large shovel, any digging implement will do. Another important piece of equipment is to have a small handheld fire starter and a knife to strike it. You can get the fire starter at any outdoors equipment store. A knife works best, but any bladed equipment will do, like the axe. Last but not least, you will need a jug of water to put the fire out. Make sure you get a gallon or two to properly put out the fire. Next, you will have to find a good place to build your fire. You need to pick a flat area with enough trees around for fuel. If there are any debris in the area, move them as they could potentially catch fire. The next step is to dig a fire pit. This is done so that the fire will be contained. The pit needs to be dug a few inches deep to be able to accommodate the fire. Now you will need to find some large rocks to place around the edge of the pit. This is another method to help keep the fire from spreading to the surrounding area. To get fuel for your fire, you're going to have to go out and start chopping some wood. When looking for suitable sources, try to look for stumps or fallen limbs as they are easier to cut. After you are done with that, you're going to place some tinder near the center of the pit. Look for anything that is very dry and crumbles in your hand. What works really well are pine chips and dry cattails that you can find near any pond. Now comes the part where you light your fire. You will use that fire starter we talked about earlier to light the tinder as it ignites more easily. You'll want to strike the fire starter in a downward motion, sending the sparks into the tinder. After you get a small fire going, you are going to have to blow on it to give it the much needed oxygen it needs to grow. Your fire is now growing and spreading, but it will need more fuel if it is to survive. When placing wood, try to make sure you don't smother the fire. Give it openings to breathe. You will need to keep some wood off to the side just in case you need it. When you are done using your fire, it's time to put it out. There are many different ways that you can use to put out the fire, such as water, sand, or just putting dirt on it. For this particular fire, we'll be using that jug of water we talked about earlier. Make sure there are no embers still glowing, as it could potentially start a forest fire. With this done, you have successfully built and put out a campfire. Congratulations!